Welcome to Is It the Shoes? I am Patrick.
And I'm Andrew.
And, this is the first time we've got the co-host in here. Happy to have the co-host here. We're trying to do a video. We don't know how good it's going to be, but you know what? That's the power of learning, right? It's an experience for all of us, and we're going to get better as we go. Nonetheless, if you guys want to follow the show.
Positive thinking.
Exactly. And pay more attention with the show. Follow us on Twitter at It's The Shoes, and shoes has a Z because we're fancy. So expect it. Anyway, so let's get into this, Andrew. First episode ever. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for, if you clicked on this by accident, well, you're in for an interesting show. Like I said, we're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We go through a different account at OFOTN. We do true crime podcasts, conspiracies. We also do this show in which pretty much anything can happen. Anything can happen. Nothing's off the lines, and we're just here to have a great silly goose time, make you laugh a little bit, as well as ourselves. Really more for ourselves. I feel like if I'm not in here laughing, I don't know what I'm doing. If I can't at least laugh at myself, I'm not going to enjoy this. And hopefully Andrew brings something that I can laugh at as well, because I'm doing too much staring in the mirror just for those late night giggles. So welcome, Andrew. The first time he's
sorry. What was that last part?
Oh, it was a bunch of nothing. Me just talking about how for the best laugh I stare in the mirror.
Yes. Yeah. You cannot laugh at yourself when you do not know humor.
Dude, actually, when I was a kid, go ahead. Me and my buddy, we used to when I would stay the night at his house, because he was one of those friends that never stayed the night at your house. He would only let you stay at his. He wouldn't stay at yours. So what we would do for fun.
Weird.
Oh, for sure. The weirdest. It got even weirder once my dog bit him in his face. Then you're like, oh, no wonder he didn't want to stay. No wonder he was like, I'm fine.
You kind of justified his fears, yes. And then he never left home again.
Right.
And one time.
And now he's dead. So wonderful.
Oh shit.
Rest in peace, Cody. But he didn't
happen at home. Did it happen at home? Or another stay at home, boys and girls. Don't go out. It's dangerous out there.
Exactly. Definitely don't get in the car where somebody else is drinking. That's never possible. No. But anyways,
no.
What we would do to actually entertain ourselves and laugh our asses off, obviously we would play like Twisted Metal, Space Jam. I don't know why I was going to say that. But we would play a bunch of PlayStation. And then we would go into the mirror. We'd go into the mirror in his bathroom, dude. And both of us would stand side by side and just make weird faces at ourselves and die laughing. Like, I don't feel like I've laughed that hard since those days. How ridiculous is that? To look at your own face just as a kid and you're like, that is fucking good. That's humor.
I like that.
I miss that.
Just like amazed at what you can create, right? It's kind of like art, facial art.
Yes, facial art. Being able to accept your own silliness.
Yes.
Okay, Andrew's being
embracing.
He's being attacked in his car live on.
No. I was trying to. There'd be a lot more screaming and pleas for help, right? It would be. That's how you know. Let's see. I'm trying to find a place to set this where it will stay.
We're gonna get you.
I'm being unsuccessful at it.
Yeah, we'll get you a badass setup eventually. We do have plans on having him here, where we can do it live together, and get him a microphone and just the fanciness set up, so he can be. As legit as we are, which is only semi-legit anyways, so you're not really too far
as legit as we can hope for at this time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we got dreams, we got room to grow, opportunities for growth are everywhere.
That's right. And we're not Joe Rogan. We don't have millions of dollars to put into a production company like, hey,
not yet.
Exactly.
Joe, if you want to sponsor us, like, I love me some Fear Factor. I'll give back the love.
You heard it here first on Is It the Shoes? Joe Rogan sponsor the podcast. Don't be foolish. I have always wondered that, like, how does that even happen? How would you get on a network? Because if you think about it, we have the same potential because you can film these podcasts just like we are from long distance. We're not far from each other, but we're far enough where this is still convenient for both of us, where the travel doesn't have to happen, but also we could film this type of thing and then send it to these networks that would ultimately put us on, or we could be on like a Gas Digital, we could be on Parcast, or just any of these other random ones. I'm not saying that that's the goal, but I'm saying that it is very much an option, considering that podcasting can be done long distance. So we could be on a network that's ultimately based in New York or Los Angeles, but this is still a small time. This is only, I would say, this is probably our 8th episode. I did like 6.
Still in the dreaming state.
Exactly. Still dreaming. I'm barely awake as it is. But the whole thing is just consistency. And I have this thing, and I probably haven't mentioned it to you, but my whole idea with this show, not only to have a presence online, but to have a presence online and with our show consistently, where Joe Rogan is one of those people, and I'm not saying that he is the quintessential person to pay attention to when it comes to podcasting, but what he does differently than everybody else. Exactly. And what he does different is he actually goes and he says, hey man, I'm going to give you 2, 3, 4 episodes every week instead of just 1 episode a week, and you have to wait for that episode like you're watching a fucking TV show. That's annoying as shit.
Give them more episodes than they want.
Give us so much.
Give them more. Have extra.
Don't
make it a buffet of episodes. You take what you want.
Exactly. And that's why I think that is our best option. I'm putting out probably 2 episodes a week as of now. That's why we're already at 8 episodes. But it's also to draw more people, because they're going to come to notice us a lot faster if we're always putting stuff out there. Same thing with social media. You have to keep putting stuff out there to keep the interest, okay? It doesn't have to be super great things. Just keep doing it. And hard work pays off. That's why I look at it. There's no sense in quitting when you're already this far in. I'm bringing new people in, such as yourself. Like this is a journey in its own interest, where it's like, hey, this could be something, or it's just fun for us in general. It's what I do. I've always had an issue with talking too much, no matter who it is or what it's about. I just talk, and it's fine. But when you're alone,
you embrace that. That's what I love. You turned your weakness into strength.
Exactly.
I love it.
I feel the exact same way. Like, why waste it? I mean, especially when I'm hanging around 2 little people all day long who don't have very good conversationing skills. I find myself talking to myself, which is fine. But you have to.
As long as you don't respond, you're good. As long as you don't answer yourself.
Thankfully, that's right.
That's when you got to pump the brakes. Yeah.
Hopefully that day will come where maybe I'll answer myself, but in a private manner. Like, not worried about an audience or something. Like, oh, he's talking to himself. Well, yes, this is what he does.
Not outside of a Kroger's, like stumbling around. It'll be better.
That is the place.
Talking back.
Yeah, you want to find some crazy people talking to themselves. Oh, that's the place. Go to Kroger. It doesn't even matter what
parking lot. Ain't no
you're gonna hit some right. There was actually this one guy who I remember while I was a teenager and in my early 20s when I first really started driving. And when I would be driving around the city, I would see this one specific guy in many different locations, but he was always walking, talking to himself, legitimately talking to himself. But yeah, I had a friend who had got arrested in like outside of a pizza place. I think it was like a Domino's or something. He was just outside of the Domino's talking to himself. And guess what? He's arrested. Because he's talking to himself, and they think we're going to put a hold on him. We're going to lock him. But yet this one guy walks all around the city talking to himself, and nobody says shit. What's the difference?
That's weird. That's odd, yes.
They just got used to him. They're like, oh, that's the guy who talks to himself. We don't have to worry about him.
That's the guy. He's harmless. Yeah, but the devil you know versus the devil you don't, maybe.
Yes. If it started happening more and more often, it's just a pandemic. But I will say this: the friend that started talking to himself, he had an Adderall addiction. I don't want to say anything to the people out there that are taking Adderall as a drug.
It was a catalyst, possibly.
That's what I'm thinking, and it's
like one molecule away from meth. You know,
it got
the brain doesn't really know the difference.
for sure. It's just one of those weird things where you're like, he was talking to himself, but he was answering people inside of his head that apparently lived in the same neighborhood as he did.
Huh.
What is that?
So maybe it was like telekinesis. Maybe they were all talking to each other. Maybe there's a secret organization of telekinetic people out there. They're not crazy people talking to themselves.
The Illuminati.
This could be big. Why has no one thought of this?
Look, I used to be really deep into conspiracies, and him and I would go back and forth all day long just talking about random conspiracies. And then you find out that he thinks, because he was a virgin, probably still is, well into his 20s. Yeah.
Pent up sexual frustrations.
Oh yeah, and he would say things like the people were saying things in his head that were just critical of him. And he said that there was a little girl who would play NSYNC for him and just random shit like that. And
that's kind of nice.
Sure enough, yeah, didn't go well for him. The end was not as fairy tale as one would expect. But it makes you wonder, because when you're deep in conspiracies and you have somebody basically kind of giving some validity to the things you're talking about, you're like, oh shit, does he have insider information? Is this really happening? Was Adderall a drug placed in our society to manipulate the mind and control people to a certain degree, especially the people that you're not going to believe, such as him? Where are we?
Look at people. It went from nobody on it to all of a sudden all these kids are on it.
Starting with children.
Like every grade, every class. If you weren't the one on Adderall, you knew a couple people that was. No, there's kids, there's pill lines in schools, right?
Yep.
That's nuts. Like a crazy house or something.
Oh yeah. And it honestly, to me, it never seemed to be like a benefit to that person. It's like you like the person who wasn't on the Adderall way more when they weren't on the Adderall. But yeah, Adderall is supposed to make them better. But they say yeah. Yeah. It's a terrifying thing.
It's like throwing gas on a fire. That's well. They're already burning. They need some help. Don't throw gas on it,
Yes.
Thanks for helping.
Yeah,
thanks.
Exactly. And you have to learn from this and hope that, because the weird thing is like when you're researching conspiracies, you start to think about, or you find information about them targeting the children, targeting kids on purpose, because they're the most easily manipulated minds, and that can be done with ease to the point of not noticing it. So if all these parents are saying, hey, we got to put our kid on Adderall,
predatory behavior, yeah,
dude, frightening, absolutely frightening. And thankfully there is a handful of us that got out of our childhood without ever really having any, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't have to do Adderall. I'm sure we have all dabbled, but my point is we were never prescribed to it by our parents. Whether it would have helped us or not, it's probably beneficial that we didn't have that happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, I had it prescribed it, and then it's still bad if you overuse it, or maybe it's bad if you use it at all. The doctors, they're not God, they're just, how do they know what's best for you,
exactly.
Right?
It's a trial and error situation where you can hope for the best, but you can't guarantee it.
Yeah, like it's like throwing parts at like when your car breaks down, you're like, it could be this or this, so I'll just start checking stuff.
You're exactly right. That's a perfect analogy. The human body is ultimately like a fucking not a new car. It's more like an older car, like an 89 or something.
When you hit 30. When you hit 30, it's feeling how old that car is.
You're like, they don't even have replaceable parts anymore. I can't find the shit anywhere.
Yeah. No more stock parts. You got to get it from China.
That's right.
Yeah, guys wanting our money.
Very interesting over there as well. But I figure today's episode, we just want to kind of give the people, the listeners, the audience, let's give them some sort of introduction.
All day long.
Oh, yeah. Let's give them a little bit of an introduction into you and your background in comedy, and just your not saying that you have like you're a performer or anything, but I'm saying your interest in comedy, who you like, who you've always liked, and who kind of has inspired you or you've remained interested in. And let's just start by saying, who would you consider your favorite comedian or top 3 comedians?
Mitch Hedberg comes to mind right off the bat.
All right, well, we got this podcast down because that's perfect, and that's enough. No, really, thank you. I 100% agree. Mitch Hedberg is a fucking inspiration, and a lot of the stuff that I write is that style. Just one line or maybe 2 lines, nothing too much, very little words, and just
simple yet hilarious.
And you have to figure it out. You have to be smart enough to understand it. If you're not, you're not going to get it, and you're going to think it's dumb.
There's too much. There's not enough room to wiggle around with the dumb comedy. You got your fart jokes, you got your dick jokes, but then when you get in there deeper, and it's like your dick doesn't work jokes. Like, whoa, that's terrifying. It's horror and comedy at the same time.
Right. It's like
You gotta mix it up.
a Wes Craven film, right? I mean, that's
Yes,
kind of a stretch,
get the
but he does
emotions out of there.
kind of funny, yeah. So what, right off the top of your head, what is one of your favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes, if you can recall?
Something about where he likes to get high on top of a planetarium and stare at the stars. So it's like he's in a universe sandwich.
Nice. That is great.
I can't remember exactly how he delivered it, but it's fucking genius. It's
My favorite,
I can relate to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Feel very small. Things, yeah.
It's just like the one where he said, I used to do drugs. I used to, or I still do, but I used to too. That's a great one.
Yes.
My favorite is
one about when you get pulled over too.
For sure. My particularly favorite joke. Yeah, he says you'll never see an out of order sign on an escalator. It'll just say escalator temporarily stairs. Sorry for the convenience.
Stairs.
Dude, that is one of my favorites of all time, for sure.
That is fucking genius. Unless they just ate a kid, and then they do close it down until the investigation.
Oh yeah, oh man, those videos. Holy shit!
Watch your kids, ladies and gentlemen, on escalators. Yes, ooh.
That is the
once they taste blood too, it's over with. And
oh yeah,
they gotta put them down.
Yeah. It's became too real. So he's your favorite comedian by far. Do you have any other ones you throw in there, or any of them that are still alive?
Man, well, before we lose about with the industrial accidents, have you ever seen them industrial rollers that are spinning real fast? And like, there's a video of a dude showing this. He's like walking around this girl, probably like, here's the safety. Don't do this. And and it fucking grabs his hand and just he's gone, man. Right? And the industrial rollers is fucking brutal. Like that's
what are they used for?
Like paper, I guess, or something. I know I worked at a place that zipped off a little bit of my finger. Let's see, hold on. I don't know which one it was, but like it was for panel forming on RVs, you know.
Okay, yep. It sucks it in.
Yeah. Zipped off. Like luckily, like it wasn't as big as this one. Like the big one, it sucked the whole dude in. It was just his helmet stayed out. Wow. You know, he had a helmet on, safety helmet. Yeah.
There's a bit
maybe
there
a
for
shoe
sure.
flipped off. Just fucking beautified him, man.
Dude,
thanks for coming out.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for. Would you work a half hour? You fucking dead.
Yeah, like how do you pay him for that?
It makes me wonder about like there's these weird jobs that I think about all the time, and like who does that job? For instance, there has to be a guy that tests helmets.
Ooh, yes.
Who's the guy?
What about what's that? The jock strap? You know, the ball protector, a cup tester. Oh man.
Is it the same guy?
Who's volunteering for that job? Yeah, same guy. They've got to be. He's got brain damage from the helmet test.
And exactly. And then is it the same guy who tests the durability of oven mitts? Right?
Yes. I've been that guy before.
Really?
Like industrial car parts, grabbing them. They're like, I don't know, 4,000 degrees. I think when I got them, by the time they got to me, there's down to like 800, but that's still pretty high.
Oh hell yeah!
They're big yellow gloves. They look like McDonald's gloves. I don't know, like the hamburger gloves.
And somebody has to test the temperature. Somebody has to say this. I can't feel heat at this degrees. Right? That still has to.
It doesn't burn right now. And then someone else has to be like, okay, now it's burning through. Now I've touched so many car parts.
Somebody durability
is gone.
Right.
I was that guy. I was like, hey, this spot, I can't. It's burning my hands. You know, can I have new gloves?
This is still fucking hot.
Yeah. Like, but there's holes in it. Like,
dude, that means somebody goes to work every day and only burns their hands. That's their job.
Yes.
Or is it a new guy?
I was doing it for free.
Oh,
or not? Well, like for $11 an hour, whatever whatever Bantler was paying me.
Well, that's free. That's free, basically.
Yeah, they got the free R&D. The R&D was free, basically. Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. What an interesting thing. So, circling back to Mitch Hedberg, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, comedian. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. This is what the show is about. You're not doing anything wrong whatsoever. Favorite comedian, you says Mitch Hedberg. Who would you say is your favorite comedy actor?
Comedy actor.
Right.
Like Like a Dave Chappelle kind of.
Well, he's a comedian in the sense of he performs on stage. So if it's
Yeah.
somebody who no longer performs on stage, that's fine. But
Well, like Paul Rudd, maybe. Are we going like that direction?
Yeah.
Like Paul Rudd.
Jim Carrey.
Funny. Okay. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler.
Okay. Yeah.
So Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd is a guy. I'd have to go with that. He's fucking hilarious. Everything he's in, he nails it. You know,
Yeah. So with that being said, what do you think about the new Ghostbusters? Have you seen the trailer for that?
A new Ghostbusters?
Yeah, dude.
With the girls in it, or with
Paul
guys?
Rudd.
With Paul Rudd
and the original cast. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. Crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm YouTubing this right now. Hang on. Hold on. I cannot wait.
Hey, do it and watch it right now, and then try and talk about it at the same time. I got it on so far.
Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Did you watch it already?
The build up. This trailer is great. Yeah, this trailer is great. I wish you could see it.
Oh, I already watched
it. Oh, okay.
That's one of the things that we'll do on the show once we get everything perfect, right? Once you
reviews.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go and watch trailers and look at reviews of shitty movies. I have all kinds of stuff prepared for the show. It's gonna make it exciting.
Right, yeah, this is great.
I'm excited.
I'm gonna enjoy this very much.
Oh yeah, and don't forget, man. All day long, you can just take mental notes of different things you could talk about, or just things that you're like, I wonder how Pat feels about this, etc.
I need a better way of documenting that, because I do have these thoughts, but I'm a space case, and then I immediately forget them. I got like a 90-second window of locking it in. You know?
Right. That's exactly what I mean. I try to, like, that's what this is. It's like an entire accumulation of a quick memo that I made featuring everything I wanted to talk about on the show. So sometimes I write it over a few days. Sometimes I just write it before the episode and try to remember what I can. Shit like this, just random stuff, dude. People love it. And then not holding back, and also giving them multiple formats so they can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, wherever. You will be able to find the show.
T-shirts, bumper stickers.
Exactly.
Coming soon to your bedroom.
I have a website that we can use that is literally free for us to make any of the designs, put them out there, and we can make clocks. Like
let's make clocks. Let's do it, man. Let's think big. I've always wanted to make clocks.
Everything, legitly everything. And as you see,
we're taking you on Casio. We're taking on Citizen. Like we're Fossil. We're taking on the world, baby.
Oh man, that would be cool to be able to like a partnership with Fossil watches. Like here you go.
I love Fossil. I wouldn't want to take on Fossil. Respect Fossil. Send me some free watches.
Put our designs in there. That'd be the best part. But like as I said, I've done graphic design for a lot of years. It's what I went to vocational school for. It took 2 years in that shit, and I do it right from my phone. I don't have Photoshop or anything like that. So everything that you've seen me make video wise, or just the graphic, the logo, the artwork, that is all on my phone. That's not, and it's still fucking badass. The one graphic where you see the shoe spinning and whatnot, that I do on my laptop, but I just started learning how to do it. I just found the program. But overall, this is something that I take very seriously, and I deal with these fucking trolls all the time from Arkansas and shit. And they come in, like I said, I've told you this before, they come in and talk crazy shit, and it's like, bro, you guys don't know who the fuck I am. First of all.
They're just mad. They're jealous. That's what them trolls, are throwing at you. It's something they're not seeing in themselves, and they're mad about it.
That's exactly what I came to that conclusion a while ago when just from posting music, people being trolly about music. Like, bro, fuck you. I'll do whatever I want. If I like it, that's what matters. And that's why I do this, because who gives a shit what you think? I didn't build this entire set just for me. I mean, it is really just for me because I like it. And it's the things I like. Somebody gave me shit the other day.
At the end of the day,
somebody on YouTube was like, "Oh, you're wearing a comic book. You're wearing a comic book shirt, and I have Othello game pieces in my ear." Like, hey, bitch, that's because that's who I am. Sorry, go the fuck somewhere else if you're looking for some dude in a fucking button-down shirt. You're looking for a dude with no tattoos. Fine, but you don't got to tell me what I am that you don't like. Because it doesn't.
The tattoo thing is changing. Like you see that even in like professions. Professional people have tattoos.
Cops have tattoos.
Yes,
It's like people just trying to talk shit for the sake of talking shit. And also
just anything. It's when they can't sling nothing else at you. That's like a last ditch. You know,
Yeah.
oh, he's got tattoos. You know, that's an easy one, right?
Yeah, it's the lowest. It's the lowest tier. Of
It's
criticism.
low. It says more about them than it does, you know, about someone with tattoos. It's everybody can have tattoos.
And I posted on Twitter just the other day for the 9-minute podcast. I was like, you know what? If you don't have to like my content, just expect it. It's gonna keep fucking coming. It's gonna be right in your face always. So suck it up, dude, or move the fuck on. You don't have to watch my shit.
Yeah. I'm not gonna talk shit about nobody that don't deserve it.
Yep. And then also, if you're really about it, pull up. Just come on over. What are we doing? We don't got to talk about it. If you really don't like me that much, let's figure it out in the front yard.
Ooh, I like that. We should just try to figure it out. A good acronym or something.
Fucking hate it, dude. It's so annoying because that's the person I am. I'll fight you for some shit. You're the person, not you, but the people talking shit are the people that are internet warriors. The ones that are just like, I want to talk shit online because I have this giant facade in front of me that makes me look tough. But also, you're not even educated.
Cage courage. Like, they know they're safe, so they're just talking all the shit they can because they know. But when you're there, it changes.
Yeah, I love it too. And trust me, dude, I've never had an experience in my life where somebody was talking shit via text message or online that when I saw them in person, they acted the same way. 100% of the time, they fucking cower up. They try to pretend like they don't fucking see you. It's like, yeah, bitch, because you know I'll crush you.
Because real people don't talk like that. Real people just do it. Like, exactly. They don't, if they're, you know, phonies.
Nothing to talk about. No words. What are words going to do, bro?
Wasted time.
If you're being clever
lip
or
boxing
funny.
Is all it is. Lip boxing. Gloves on the lips.
That's a good one. And we might do that. We might do that because I would love to have us go and do some banter about different comments and shit that we'll receive for our show, positive or negative. We'll do it every other month or some shit where we do one episode.
Could we just look questions like a fan Q&A or something, right?
Always. That's why, dude. And check this out. I give out the social media and the emails every episode for every one of my podcasts. And guess what? These cowards don't ever come and contact me on email or social media.
Yeah.
That right there is the most cowardice thing.
They're making us famous, though. You know, like, hey, whoever wants to pay my bills, I will accept your critiques of me. I prefer constructive criticism, but if you want to just criticize me, if it's still paying my bills, then go for it. Have at it.
if you want to say the exact same thing that you've seen 6 other people say, cool, bro. Keep it to yourself. At least be creative or witty.
In a better way.
Yeah. Bring something to the table. Also, show me how you're better. Show me how you're better than me. That's my whole thing. Show me where you're better. That's never happened. They just want to run their mouth about
show
what
me
you're
how
doing.
your house isn't made out of glass. Yeah, you want those stones over here.
Exactly. We can play that game. But hey, be mad if you want to be. Yeah. Dude, I feel so bad about my 9-minute podcast. How often I have to say 9 minutes. Like just saying 9 over and over, I feel like, Jesus, somebody's gonna catch on. Speaking of which, dude, I have 2 tattoos on my body that are semi-visible that have the numbers 88 because that was the year I was born.
Ooh, that could be taken the wrong way.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that until I was working one day, and the guy's like, "What's that 88 mean?"
You should be okay.
Well, I was born in Indiana, and the years, so turns out it's very white supremacist, wouldn't it? Found out the hard way.
I wouldn't know that, but just from being in an environment that was racially.
Yes. I am glad I didn't have them then.
Yeah, right?
I would have been hanging out with different people.
Your tattoo artist probably should have run that one by you, though. I feel like
it was me.
I feel like your tattoo. Oh, you did it yourself. Oh.
Yeah. I did my whole left arm, bro. Like the whole shit is all me. Fucking stupid. Man. That's what happens when you get a tattoo kit. Next
time, run your new ideas, tattoo ideas through me. I can tell you. I'll be your tattoo. Sure. I can tell you which one.
Everything else is pretty legit, but it's like the 88 to your average white supremacist is going to be like, oh, he's a friend. No. I don't. It's just ink, and it's also the year I was born. I can prove it. You know what I mean? Like, here's my license, but also fuck off.
Yeah. No, I mean, what? Yeah, it's just that one's easy enough to. Yeah, I don't think anybody.
That's all I told the dude. I was like, it's my fucking the year I was born, dude. Suck it. That's what it'll be. Right. All right, so let's continue on.
The more you know.
I love that. that was one of the formidable channels for me growing up. Reading Rainbow, even though that's not the song. So this is, I've been sharing with you these different people, these comedians specifically, that have kind of interacted with us on social media. And I know they probably aren't big names to you, but let me just say, everybody that I've mentioned has a really fucking good podcast, and they're actually very funny comedians. Rick Glassman, Jeremiah Watkins, Mark Norman, Joe List. You might have heard of Mark Norman or Joe List, but both of those guys have liked many things that I've posted. And keep in mind, this is a Twitter account with less than 50 followers. So that's pretty special.
This is baby birds right here. This baby bird flapping his wings. This is just the beginning.
yeah. We're not even gonna creep to the edge of the nest yet. We're just still. I don't know. Is that a bird?
Yeah, we're still poking out the shell. Yeah, we're still
yeah.
we're tapping at it. We got a little hole. We're sticking our little beak out. Here we go.
Here's something you have to wonder about birds, man. You're born in an egg, and your first instinct has to be break out of this thing.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Fight for survival. That is your first fight or flight. There's no flight. You gotta be fighting to live. We're all survivors.
Because otherwise, if they just stay in the egg, they can't breathe. So they have to get out. That's crazy. It's crazy. Is it better? Should humans be born into an egg form? I don't know.
Would some people just stay in the egg and just like, I'm not doing this? Nope. Hard no. Like, I don't want to.
It's like one of those characters from Foghorn Leghorn, the fucking guy that's still in the egg, but his legs are out. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, he runs around, but he's still in the shell. I forget what his name is, but he talks. How I know this, I don't know. Children, Foghorn Leghorn. You know what's really crazy about those old cartoons is if you buy them on DVD, they give you like this crazy warning at the beginning of it that says, you know, there's going to be some racist shit in this cartoon.
I had no idea. I haven't seen a DVD because I watched them all when I was kids, you know?
Yeah. But
now they have.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like they re-put them out, so they're still.
Like before Dumbo, like there's this scene with some crows we want to talk about real quick. Times have changed.
Imagine if they put out a new Huckleberry Finn. One of the main characters had a bad name. Is that what it is? Jonathan Taylor Thomas's movie? No. But that's so weird, dude, because you have to think you're showing this to like younger people and they're like, oh, just know that we were only racist at this point because that was what was cool during those times.
It's just because everyone else was. Yeah, to be fair. Right. Yeah. That's like such an excuse. It's like we were only Nazis because everyone else was.
Yeah, so it benefited our cartoon. It made sense because think about it. There's many cartoons with Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny where they're fighting Nazis or they're making fun of Japanese people. It's fucking crazy. You're like, oh, that was a cartoon? No wonder it was.
It was the ethnocentrism at the time, yeah.
All right, so
survival, right?
Yeah.
It was life or death, you know.
Much like the birds, survival. That's the theme of the show: survival of the birds.
Break out of our shells, everybody.
All right. Last thing I just want to hit on before we knock this out. Why would you say podcasting? Don't know what that is. Why do you think podcasting is interesting to you? Like, is there a podcast you listen to? Do you know much about podcasting? Did you jump on this because it seems like everyone else is? Or, I mean, virtually we're still new because there's not a lot of people in our vicinity that is podcasting or even a big podcast. So.
Yeah, was that question directed to me? Or?
Yeah.
Was that to both of us?
It's just you. I wrote the question.
Yeah.
I can answer.
Oh, you wrote the question. All right. Disclaimer, I'm very high. I've just smoked like 2 joints back to back. I'll probably do one more if we got time.
You can see it in the video, guys. It is true. He's not a joke.
Yes.
This is not a fucking game.
I have my card. It is my medicine, and it's effective.
Hashtag elevation.
Yes. You know, there's nothing wrong with you know, people like they wanted to shame stoners for so long, you know, like but really like stoners are like most of the stoners I know, they're good people, you know, they're trying to get through the day, you know, there's shit that will make you mad, shit that'll like ruin your day. Or you can just smoke a joint and all that shit's gone and it doesn't bother you no more, you know. That's like right. And it frees you up to be a better person, you know, because it doesn't all this cancer that builds up on us, you know, it's just everywhere. This negativity, it's so prevalent in our society. You know, there's everybody yelling, or everybody, you know, there's always, you know, some drama or something, you know, all unnecessary, you know.
Yes, everybody thinks they're a victim. No
right?
matter
Yes, yeah. This
it,
victims, yeah.
it's everything.
They justify it. They justify their own behavior by, and that's a road that ends, that's a scary, you can't,
For sure.
you justify anything, right? Huh? If you do, like, I don't know, it's crazy. But back to the podcast thing before I spun wildly out of control. Yeah, no, I've listened to a few. Like, it's been a while though. It's been a while. So I was just, and I know we were talking, about the herbage, and figured give it a shot. I know we had good banter back in the
Yeah.
old days. The old, if you don't forget to mark down that you want to eat the next day, they don't feed you place. Like that
Yeah, there you
place.
go.
That's what is that? What is
Forgot
that?
about that.
How's that place?
Do you want breakfast? Well, write it down.
Yeah, if you don't ask for it the day before in advance, we're not gonna feed you. Like,
Yep.
why? Just put me down for I'm always hungry. Like, yeah, what the fuck?
Like a human.
Yeah. You back? All right. My bad.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
You've listened to a few. You understand it. You know what the whole thing is.
Well, that might be generous with the term understand it and know what the whole thing is with those.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. Appreciate it.
Okay. So what I'm thinking will probably reintroduce your interest would simply be transitioning to watching them on YouTube instead of just listening to them, because it's easier to just to watch, to see the visual. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like Your Mom's House, super fucking funny. Tom Segura and his girlfriend. That is probably a show that's a show I can guarantee you will like, no matter who's on there, because they get crazy content from their audience, ridiculous videos, and it's hilarious. Seriously, one of the funniest shows. I couldn't recommend it enough. But because I know the type of person in comedy that you're interested in by saying Mitch Hedberg, you should definitely check out The Legion of Skanks. The Legion of dude, that one.
Like the name? Oh, man, no.
It is. It's three comedians and then guests, and they perform live at the Stand, which is a comedy club in New York, and they have an entire audience. And it's super funny, dude. Easily one of the funniest shows. They do videos as well, but they are they are the last remaining show of any kind, the last remaining comedians that are willing to push the boundaries all the way. And I mean that literally.
No boundaries. Yes, no boundaries. I like that.
Legion of Skanks is the shit. There's also the Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll show. That's the SDR show. Also comedians, also pushing the limits. They've had porn stars on there, butt chugging water, like, bro, and they do it live, like it's right there while you're watching. Kill Tony. Kill Tony features new comedians every Monday at the Comedy Store. They do 60 seconds worth of jokes, and then they get like sort of roasted, sort of critiqued by the panel. And the panel is Tony Hinchcliffe, Brian Redman, and then guests.
Sorry, I gotta turn the heat on.
They also have
I'm under attack.
Say what?
Nah, I'm good. I'm not under attack.
No, that has always been a very interesting thing I've thought about when it comes to podcasting.
That makes for good footage. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. Imagine the first person that gets murdered on a podcast.
I know, right,
dude?
By an alien. It proves aliens are real and they're menacing. They just ate someone.
Yes, we're stuck in the signs.
Hopefully it's fast, at least. I don't know. I don't want a slow gurgling death. Or you
like yeah, for sure. Pirate radio back in the day, they used to be like in a bunker or something on the radio. Is anybody listening? All of you out there listening, right? So that's basically what we're doing, is we're sitting in our own house on a microphone talking to the world. But what I was going to say is I'm recommending these podcasts because it's kind of going to show you and help introduce you into the concept of our banter back and forth, and then also just your ideas where you're like, hey, we should look at this, we should look at that, and then you're going to have a laugh, and it's great entertainment. You really cannot go wrong with those podcasts. But if there's any other ones that I could recommend, the last one I'd probably say that I've started watching from the very beginning is Robert Kelly's You Know What, Dude? That's what it's called. You Know What, Dude? YKWD. Type it in on YouTube, and it features him and like four other comedians, which you put all those comedians in one room, you're going to get some great content. And then it's going to introduce you into some other comedians you might have never heard of. Dan Soder, like I said, Joe List is on there all the time. These guys are hilarious. And then if you want to watch,
You're thinking too small, Patrick. You need to think they'll be on our show pretty soon. We can thank them in person.
Oh,
we can
for
thank them in
sure.
person.
For sure. That'd be a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
A beautiful
gotta think big. Gotta think big.
It's true. Be the big fish.
You gotta have big dreams to make it in this world, right? You know,
Yeah. Existing, at least.
Existence is key time.
The last thing I just wanted to say about those guys is there's
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
No disrespect meant to those guys.
No disrespect to the audience. This is all new. It's been a while since I've had a co-host. It's been forever since you've ever had one, and this is a fun experience for us. And we're gonna be getting better as time goes, as you can see. But like I said, the interest of this is we're vague. Our podcast is called "Is It the Shoes?" There's no direct correlation with us and anything, which means nothing's off limits. We can talk about whatever we want. We can do whatever the fuck we want. This is our show. Nobody can stop us.
I love it.
And
it's the Wild West for us, you know?
Yes, and I feel like we have something to offer. We can bring something very different to the game of podcasting. And with my little experience, it's only going to be that much easier and smoother. This is new for us, but hey, fuck it. You don't learn without trying, and that's the way I feel, and I'm never going to give up on that. If you don't keep trying, what's the point?
Don't knock it till you try.
Yeah, you might as well just fucking fade away. Just disappear. Turn to fucking ash like the end of Avengers. Whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah, at least it's something that'll carry on to annoy people for future generations.
Yes. Who knows, dude? We could be
or entertain them. Hopefully,
exactly.
Hopefully entertain, let them know, or more than annoy.
We could be dead for 50 years, and people could find this and be like, "Holy shit, those guys!"
Someone will watch it and be like, "What is this culture? Why is this man sitting in a focus talking into his phone?"
Right.
Is someone ever like, what if that survives? And they think our society is just like, all that survives.
Yeah,
based upon us.
Well, at least you're not singing in your car to your phone. A lot of people do that as well. But
yeah, I sing horribly. Like that is a doubly good thing. That's not happening.
Well, I think that's probably we're gonna go ahead and end the show with this last little bit. Like I said, there's talks about committing 40 hours to the show, and just a lot of work. And we're definitely this is the first run. We're gonna be better as time goes. Andrew's gonna have proper equipment. We'll do some live shows here together. And it's just going to be an experience for all of us, and you guys especially, not just us. We're
all going to grow together, folks. I'm excited. This is audio growing.
So if they came
audio, visual.
If you're one of the people that listen to this show in its infancy, just like it is now, then and stuck with us, imagine what it's going to be by the time we get to the end.
Is it the shoes?
All right, I've been Patrick.
And I'm Andrew.
This is the Shoes, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I said, we're on Twitter at It's the Shoes, shoes with a Z. And until next time, this is
Is it the shoes? Is it the shoes? Shoes?